It all comes to a head on the set of Love and Hip Hop, when cameras roll on Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington's Court Showdown. An explosive battle that promises to shatter alliances and rip secrets into the open. Fans are shocked as whispers of hidden assets, betrayal, and fierce custody disputes fill the air, setting the stage for the most intense courtroom drama the franchise has ever seen. Insiders say emotions ran high backstage, with Kirk storming out of rehearsal after Jasmine accused him of hiding key evidence. Production crews scrambled to contain the chaos, fearing that real tears and real anger could derail the upcoming reunion special. Rumors swirl that Jasmine will confront Kirk about secret bank accounts and late-night text messages that suggest a plot to undermine her parenting rights. Sources close to the couple say Kirk has been digging in his heels, refusing to budge on financial disclosures and threatening to call witnesses no one saw coming. With the family divided and loyalties tested, this court episode could redefine their relationship forever and spark a ratings war that leaves viewers gasping for breath. Tonight, we break down every twist and turn leading up to the showdown. Why has Jasmine worked so hard to pry the truth from Kirk's grasp? How will Kirk's defense team counter her fiery accusations? And will this explosive confrontation leave their family beyond repair? Or set the stage for the ultimate reality redemption arc? Stay tuned for the drama of a lifetime. The day of Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington's courtroom showdown dawned with an unsettling calm. Whispers of betrayal had swirled for weeks, but nothing prepared the cast and crew for the raw intensity of what was about to unfold. Jasmine arrived first, dressed in a sleek navy suit, her expression steely as she clutched a stack of legal files. Photographers snapped her silhouette against the courthouse steps, and onlookers murmured in awe. She had high stakes written in the lines around her eyes, a determination to expose every hidden secret. Inside the dimly lit courtroom, Kirk sat at the defense table, shoulders tense beneath a gray sport coat. His attorney leaned in close, murmuring final instructions. "Stay calm, stick to the facts, and remember our strategy." Kirk nodded, jaw clenched, staring at the folded copy of the summons that lay between him and Jasmine. The air crackled as friends and family took seats in the gallery. Yandy Smith's mother dabbed at tears, while a production assistant covered her mouth in disbelief. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided over loyalty, truth, and the promise of reality, television's most dramatic reveal. The judge called the session to order, voice crisp as he reminded everyone that this was no ordinary reunion special. It was a legal proceeding demanding decorum. Jasmine's attorney rose with confident poise. She opened by accusing Kirk of hiding substantial assets from their joint business ventures, then pivoting to allegations that he had deliberately withheld financial records to undermine Jasmine's claim to a fair share. Mr. Frost's refusal to produce complete ledgers and emails indicates a pattern of deceit, the attorney declared. Jasmine watched Kirk's face for a reaction, but he remained unreadable, eyes fixed forward. When Kirk's defense team rose, they painted a starkly different picture. Kirk, they insisted, had always been transparent about his investments. Jasmine's own team simply missed certain transactions. They presented bank statements showing deposits into accounts registered in both their names, arguing that any perceived omissions were clerical errors, not evidence of sabotage. One lawyer asked the court to focus on the intent behind the numbers rather than the numbers themselves. Kirk leaned back, exhaling slowly as jurors scribbled notes, faces impassive. The gallery buzzed when a surprise witness took the stand, a former business partner who claimed Kirk had once confided in him about hiding money in offshore accounts. In a dramatic moment, the partner produced a copy of an email, allegedly sent from Kirk's business address, instructing a trusted associate to transfer funds to a Caribbean shell company. Jasmine's eyes shone with vindication as she watched the exhibit displayed on the courtroom's projection screen. "See?" she mouthed to her cousin sitting beside her. "He lied." Kirk immediately shook his head, voice strained as he interrupted through his attorney. "That email is a forgery." His defense team pounced, pointing out discrepancies in the email header and the metadata showing it was last modified on a date when Kirk's business server was offline for upgrades. The courtroom erupted in whispers as the judge banged his gavel. Evidence authenticity became the battleground, the stakes raised by every challenge encounter. Outside, paparazzi captured Yandy arriving with a stern look, refusing to comment. She had become an unexpected advocate for her father, Christian Smith, who'd been dragged into the drama by virtue of his relationship with Yandy and Kirk. Sources close to Yandy said she believed in Kirk's innocence, but was torn by her loyalty to Jasmine. Social media lit up with speculation. Was Yandy's silence a sign of support or shock? Inside, the cross-examination of the former partner intensified. Jasmine's attorney probed his motives, suggesting he held a grudge after a fallout years ago. The partner's voice wavered as he admitted he had pursued a separate lawsuit against Kirk for breach of contract. The defense seized on this admission, arguing that jealousy and greed explained his damning testimony. As the partner's credibility unraveled, murmurs of fabricated evidence surfaced among the gallery's spectators. The turning point came when the judge allowed into evidence a recording from a hidden camera Kirk had installed in Jasmine's home office years earlier, for what he claimed were security reasons. The footage showed Jasmine reviewing her own financial records and taking screenshots, but also contained audio of her discussing strategies to control the narrative around joint property. The clip ended with Jasmine saying, "If Kirk ever gets too greedy, I'll have my proof ready." The courtroom gasped. Had Jasmine been planning the emotional takedown all along? Jasmine's face flushed as she sank in her seat. Kirk's attorney replayed the footage, emphasizing that it was Jasmine who had employed underhanded tactics, not Kirk. Jasmine stood up, voice trembling. "That was about protecting my interests, not destroying him." She paused, tears welling, before adding, "I never expected these private conversations to be weaponized." The gallery's reaction was raw. Some cheered, others booed, and a few wept, embodying the raw emotions that propelled reality television to new heights. Family members exchanged frantic whispers. Mendici's mother covered her mouth in horror, recalling how she'd once praised Jasmine as a strong partner. Now, doubts gnawed at her. Yandy's own friends urged her to stay out of the feud, warning that public family rifts could spell disaster for everyone's reputations. The network's legal advisors urged a voluntary mediation, fearing that a bitter public spectacle would irreparably damage the brand. The afternoon session saw a surprise deposition from a private investigator hired by Kirk's team. He presented bank records and server logs showing that the alleged offshore transfers took place at times when Kirk was on family trips, with GPS data confirming he was hundreds of miles away from any shell company offices. The investigators' evidence undermined the former partner's claims and bolstered Kirk's defense. Kirk listened intently, his face finally showing relief as doubt crept back into Jasmine's eyes. Lunch was served in silent dining cars, where cast members tried to process the twists. One veteran star admitted to feeling sickened by the betrayals revealed, saying, "I thought we were family." Another confidant argued that such feuds were inevitable in a world where personal dramas were packaged for public consumption. As suit-clad attorneys returned for the afternoon rounds, the mood was tense with anticipation. Which side would gain the upper hand? The final witness was Yandy's own father, Christian Smith. Sworn under oath, he recounted conversations where Jasmine had confided concerns about Kirk's spending habits and hinted at setting up a defense fund. In a hushed voice, she said, "I need to protect the kids if things go south." The defense argued that Jasmine's forethought proved she was capable of fabricating evidence to secure her position. Jasmine's attorney countered that parenting decisions did not equate to criminal conspiracy, but the judge noted that motive mattered in interpreting evidence. As day one of the showdown came to a close, the final exhibit, a text thread between Jasmine and her lawyer joking about dropping the bomb next week, was projected on the wall. The audience gasped, and Jasmine's attorney objected vehemently, calling it taken out of context. The judge allowed the snippet, noting that any evidence relevant to motive is admissible. The clip left Jasmine visibly shaken as she left the stand, shoulders slumped under the weight of a battle she had once believed would protect her family, but now threatened to destroy it. Back on the lot, producers whispered about resuming filming tomorrow with cameras rolling on the mediation session. Sponsors huddled in urgent meetings, concerned that the unrelenting drama would drive viewers away as easily as it attracted them. Cameras would capture the fallout, tensions unresolved, with everyone, cast, crew, and fans, watching to see if this court showdown would lead to reconciliation or rupture the franchise forever. The promise of explosive revelations hung in the air, poised to ignite the next chapter of love and hip-hop's real-life drama. As dawn broke the next day, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation for the continuation of Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington's explosive legal battle. Jurors filed in under watchful eyes, and the judge called the proceedings to order. Jasmine's lead attorney rose immediately, pacing before the jury as she laid out the next phase of her case. Hidden bank accounts and offshore trusts Kirk allegedly set up to conceal assets from their joint ventures and family investments. She pressed play on a slideshow of spreadsheets, lines of figures shifted by tens of thousands, while jurors leaned forward, expressions a study in shock and disbelief. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high, and the family was left divided as viewers witnessed what felt like a financial betrayal on a blockbuster scale. Outside, Yandy Smith emerged from the courthouse, flanked by network producers and legal advisors. Reporters clamored, asking, "Yandy, how are you handling these accusations?" She offered a curt nod and a promise. "We're here for the truth." Yet behind her steel gaze lay the toll of witnessing her father's character pitted against claims of deception. Murmurs followed her down the courthouse steps, some cheering her loyalty, others questioning whether she'd been complicit in any cover-ups. Inside, Kirk waited at the defense table, face pale but determined. His attorney rose to challenge Jasmine's evidence, arguing that the spreadsheets were misinterpreted and that offshore accounts in question were pre-existing family trusts established before Kirk and Jasmine married. He introduced notarized documents, signed by financial advisors, proving legitimate use of funds for business expansion. When he slammed the last page on the table, the hollow thud echoed in the hushed courtroom, a dramatic rebuttal that left Jasmine's team scrambling to reframe their narrative. The gallery erupted with whispers as Jasmine's attorney conferred in urgent huddles. She pivoted to her next witness, a forensic accountant who claimed to have discovered doctored financial records bearing Kirk's forged signature. The accountant testified to irregularities in the PDFs, altered creation dates, and mismatched fonts, suggesting deliberate manipulation. She held up side-by-side prints of original bank statements and the doctored versions, drawing gasps from the jurors. Jasmine's eyes glistened with vindication, convinced she'd uncovered the smoking gun. An unexpected break came when the lead defense attorney called a surprise witness, an ex-trusted financial planner who had worked closely with Kirk and Jasmine. She took the stand looking uneasy, admitting she'd raised concerns about Jasmine's own spending habits, lavish shopping sprees, and unapproved charitable contributions from their joint accounts. Her testimony was cautious as she revealed memos she'd sent to Kirk, warning of Jasmine's unilateral withdrawals. The defense argued that if Jasmine had financial misgivings, her accusations might be retaliatory rather than revelatory. The back and forth raged on, each side casting doubt on the other's motives. Prosecutors from Jasmine's camp called witnesses to testify about Kirk's secrecy. Servants seeing him meeting unknown visitors at odd hours. A valet recalling brown envelopes exchanged in the back seat of a luxury SUV. Each anecdote painted Kirk as furtive and untrustworthy. Conversely, Kirk's defenders summoned staff who recounted Jasmine's own late-night phone calls, some discussing how to manage the narrative if Kirk ever sought full custody in a divorce. The listener of those calls, a discreet recording sent to Kirk's attorney, became central in questioning Jasmine's true intent. In the family gallery, Mendices Frost watched as his father and his new partner clashed publicly. He whispered to a cousin, "I never thought I'd see them like this." His cousin nodded, wiping a tear. This is why reality show drama hits home. Real people, real heartbreak. The family's collective grief mirrored viewers' fascination, a reminder that the lines between televised spectacle and private anguish could blur with devastating effect. Midway through the day, the judge allowed a break for confidential counsel. As cast and crew regrouped, a senior producer confessed he regretted greenlighting the episode's storyline. "We thought it would be edgy drama," he said. "We never imagined it would spill into real courtrooms." Another crew member nodded, voice low. "This is raw. We're all collateral damage." Attention then shifted back to Jasmine's camp as they presented intercepted text messages between Kirk and an unnamed associate referencing ghost accounts and legal loopholes. Jurors squinted at the tiny font on a projected phone screen. The defense argued the messages were synthetically generated by rival factions within the production team aiming to sabotage Kirk. Distrust thickened as jurors pondered whether any digital evidence could be wholly trusted in an environment prone to manipulation. The tide turned again when Kirk's attorney brought forward a character witness, Kirk's childhood best friend, who recounted decades of loyalty and honesty. He described Kirk's shock when Jasmine first confronted him about hidden assets, insisting Kirk had been transparent about every investment. The friend's heartfelt testimony, delivered with tearful conviction, gave the defense a human dimension that cut through the numbers. Outside, fans speculated on social media. Some tweeted, "Team Justice for Kirk," while others responded with, "Team Jasmine for Truth." Reaction videos dissected every twist, with commentators shouting at their cameras, "Did you see the forgery? Or was it a genius smear himself?" The digital echo chamber roared louder than the quiet deliberations within the court. As evening approached, the final witness for Jasmine's side was a high-powered real estate broker, claiming Kirk had diverted property sales profits into hidden accounts. He presented signed contracts and diverted wire instructions. His ledger, lined in evidence markers, showed funds shifting to a company bearing Kirk's initials. The moment hung heavy. The gallery gasped, jurors leaned in, and Kirk's knees buckled slightly in his chair before he recovered his composure. When the broker finished, Kirk's attorney rose again to deliver a succinct cross-examination. He questioned the broker's motives, revealing the broker had a legal dispute with Kirk over unpaid commissions. Under pressure, the broker admitted his statements might be biased by personal vendetta. The courtroom buzzed with newfound skepticism. Could such a critical witness be trusted? As the clock neared adjournment, both sides prepared their closing arguments for the next session. Jasmine's lawyer drafted a passionate plea about transparency, fairness, and the right to know one's partner was honest. Kirk's counsel wrote a defense of privacy, loyalty, and due process, urging the jury not to conflate reality TV drama with real legal standards. Their respective offices buzzed with urgency, aware that the next day would seal their clients' fates. Camera crews filmed the empty courtroom one last time, capturing the stillness before the storm. Sponsors monitored the feeds, ready to activate contingency plans for ad placements. Fans stayed glued to screens, awaiting updates in a saga that had transformed from light-hearted entertainment to a high-stakes legal thriller. With stars and loved ones watching, and the world tuned in, Jasmine and Kirk's battle had become a defining moment, not just for their relationship, but for the entire franchise. Could love survive such public reckoning? Or would the revelations irreparably fracture their family and careers? The next morning, the jury would return to deliberate on one of the most sensational court showdowns ever captured on reality television. As the next morning light filtered through the courtroom's high windows, tension hung thicker than before. Jurors entered and took their seats, ready to hear the day's revelations. Jasmine's team reopened by calling a surprise witness, a private investigator who had tracked Kirk's expenditures over the past year. He laid out a timeline of credit, card charges at luxury retailers, and unreported travel to exotic locations, suggesting Kirk had diverted marital funds into secret getaways. Jasmine sat forward, eyes ablaze with triumph as the investigator painted a portrait of deceit and privilege. Kirk's attorney rose to object, pointing out that many of those charges coincided with promotional tours and charity events conducted in Kirk's name. The investigator's numbers were accurate, but the context was missing, the defense argued. The judge ordered jurors to consider motive and relevance, reminding them that a savvy businessman could incur significant expenses without ill intent. The courtroom murmured its approval. Fans watching at home speculated live on social media whether Kirk's defense would crumble under the weight of glossy receipts. Following the investigator, a probation officer took the stand to speak about Kirk's community service record after a past minor misdemeanor. She confirmed that Kirk had fulfilled every court requirement and volunteered additional hours at a local youth center. Jasmine's attorney took aim, demanding whether community service could erase allegations of financial misconduct. The officer replied gently, "These programs aim to rehabilitate, not to mask wrongdoing." The exchange underscored the day's theme, real redemption versus public relations. Meanwhile, family members in the gallery exchanged desperate looks. Mendice's Frost, seated beside Yandy Smith, whispered, "I'm proud of him for giving back." But Jasmine's cousin muttered, "What about hiding the truth?" The Harris siblings sat still, torn between support for Kirk's goodwill and the hard evidence being presented. Journalists in the press box scribbled furiously, charting every nuance for their live blogs, fueling the global conversation on how Love Hip Hop Court. Mid-morning, a tech expert called by Kirk's team demonstrated how the investigators' data had been compiled using a third-party app that collected public transactional data, but inadvertently misattributed shared cards and household accounts. He showed that many charges belonged jointly to both Kirk and Jasmine, or to their family foundation, not exclusively to Kirk's private stash. Jasmine blinked at the projection screen, uncertainty flickering across her composed facade. Next came an emotional testimony from Kirk's teenage daughter, sworn in under quiet agreement. She stood in the witness box, voice quavering as she spoke about her father's dedication to her school's sports team and science fairs. She described late-night drives to tutoring sessions and heartfelt talks that proved to her he was invested in family, not secret schemes. Jasmine's face softened with regret, but instantly hardened when Kirk's attorney asked if she believed Jasmine had ever hidden things from the family. The girl nodded, tears streaming. "I found bank statements in Mom's drawer. I didn't show Dad." A hush fell. Jasmine lowered her eyes. In the corridor outside, production assistants whispered that the network was considering rewrites of upcoming episodes to highlight Kirk's positive side, offsetting the damning allegations. Executives feared the family's minor had become collateral damage in a spectacle that could cross ethical lines. Sponsor emails flooded through, some praising the show's realness, others calling for restraint when involving minors in adult disputes. The late morning session brought another twist. An audio file recorded by a neighbor's baby monitor, left accidentally on, captured a heated conversation between Kirk and Jasmine weeks before the trial began. Kirk's voice sounded regretful. "I never meant to hide anything from you. I thought it would protect us." Jasmine's response was fierce. "This isn't about protection. This is about control." The neighbor's child's coos punctuated the raw dialogue. Jasmine's lawyer played the clip for jurors, claiming it proved Kirk's guilt buried beneath remorse. Kirk's defense team objected, arguing the monitor's recording violated privacy. The judge allowed it under the plain view doctrine, citing undeniable relevance. The baby monitor clip spurred an intense debate among jurors. One juror, a retired teacher, said aloud, "He admits hiding things." Another, a small business owner, countered, "He's trying to make amends." The difference in viewpoints mirrored the larger public rift. Some viewers rallied to believe in Kirk's contrition. Others insisted confession equaled culpability. Lunch offered no respite. Jasmine met privately with her attorney over sandwiches. Maps spread between them, marking locations of contested bank branches and proposed routes for jurors' field trip. Jasmine's determination was palpable. She vowed to secure what she saw as justice for years of perceived broken promises. Kirk, in a nearby green room, reviewed a draft of his closing statement, rehearsing lines about love, trust, and hopes for reconciliation. The afternoon session began with testimony from Yandy's mother, who spoke of the couple's early days, shared dreams, mutual laughter, and a family brunch that symbolized unity. She admitted not noticing irregularities then, but stressed her belief in both Kirk's generosity and Jasmine's right to seek truth. Her balanced account resonated with jurors, humanizing the couple beyond spreadsheets and secret recordings. Next, an outside mediator called to recount a failed early attempt at reconciliation. He described a session where Jasmine presented financial concerns. Kirk apologized, and they agreed to joint account monitoring, until Kirk missed a follow-up appointment, triggering Jasmine's loss of faith. The mediator's notes showed mutual frustration. Jasmine's demands felt controlling. Kirk's absences felt dismissive. This testimony painted the dispute as a painful breakdown, not a clear-cut crime. As the day wore on, the defense introduced a bank vice president via video deposition. He explained standard procedures for account transparency and confirmed that Kirk's borrowed investment capital had been fully repaid with interest. He noted that any residual balances were reflected in annual tax filings, accessible to Jasmine's accountant. Gladiatorial questions from Jasmine's legal team attempted to corner him, but he remained steady, reinforcing Kirk's argument that there was no hidden fortune. The gallery erupted when Jasmine's counsel produced handwritten notes, purportedly by Kirk, listing personal debts and veiled references to funding opportunities. The notes, scrawled on lined paper, mentioned sums matching offshore account withdrawals. Kirk's attorney moved to have the notes excluded, arguing they lacked provenance. The judge allowed them under conditional scrutiny, warning jurors to consider authenticity debates in their deliberations. Sensing the evening's close, the judge announced a brief recess before final arguments. As spectators filed out, cast members conferred in tight huddles. A cameraman confessed to overhearing Jasmine's whispered panic. What if the jury throws the notes out? Another crew member sighed, acknowledging the surreal blend of reality, TV flair, and real legal jeopardy. Fans outside discussed their betting pools on who would emerge victorious, Team Truth or Team Love. On the courthouse steps, snowflakes drifted lazily, blanketing the chaos in quiet beauty. Jasmine and Kirk crossed paths briefly, eyes locking in a moment charged with every memory they'd shared and every accusation leveled. The crowd held its breath. Would there be reconciliation or further rupture? Jasmine lowered her gaze, while Kirk offered a faint, tentative smile. Their expressions captured the heart of a saga that transcended reality television. Two people fighting not only for assets, but for trust, love, and a future neither could imagine without the other. As the sun set on day 3's tumultuous, revelations, one certainty remained. Jury deliberations would unfold under the weight of financial evidence, emotional confessions, and battle-tested loyalties. Tomorrow's closing statements promised to deliver the final crescendo in a courtroom symphony that had become the franchise's most explosive episode ever filmed. Fans, family, and the cast braced themselves, aware that the verdict would echo far beyond the courthouse walls. The courtroom's wooden doors swung open as the jury returned, their faces inscrutable under the bright lights. The gallery held its breath. Jasmine and Kirk sat side by side, hands clasped tightly, aloof allies after days of public battle. The foreperson rose, clearing her throat. We, the jury, find... Every neck craned forward. Then came the verdict. We cannot reach a unanimous decision. A collective moan rippled through the room. Mistrial declared. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high, and the family was left divided yet again. Outside, a throng of supporters and skeptics erupted. Some cheered the hung jury, as proof neither party had presented a fully convincing case. Others booed, demanding justice or reconciliation. Yandy Smith stepped onto the courthouse steps, face solemn. "We respect the process," she said, voice steady. "We will find a path forward." Reporters clamored, cameras flashing, but she retreated into the arms of family, erbling flashes painting every tear and nod. In the hallways, producers and network executives exchanged grim looks. A mistrial meant months of uncertainty, potential retrials, and further sponsor anxiety. One executive muttered, "We need a rewrite, fast." Another countered, "Or we risk losing momentum entirely." They discussed a limited behind-the-mistrial special, capturing raw reactions and setting the stage for a definitive next chapter. Kirk and Jasmine, escorted to private meetings with their attorneys, faced exhausted reckoning. "This isn't over," Kirk told his lawyer. "I want closure, not loop." Jasmine, voice weary, vowed, "I'll keep fighting until the truth emerges." Their shared determination underscored a paradox. Estranged yet bound by a contest that redefined their partnership. Family drama flared anew at the Harris household as relatives grappled with the verdict. Mendices Frost's mother lamented, "On a live video stream, we just wanted answers." His sister called for mediation. Strangers weighed in on social media, dissecting the family's every move. The blurred line between private pain and public spectacle left real people scrambling for dignity. For dignity. In a twist that felt like primetime fare, an anonymous tip surfaced suggesting Kirk and Jasmine consider a settlement, arbitrated by their network's wellness council, to avoid the financial and emotional drain of retrial. The proposal, delivered via a cryptic email, offered mutual release of claims in exchange for joint public service commitments and confidentiality. The terms promised a dramatic finale, a jointly produced special on trust and healing, sponsored by major brands wary of continued controversy. Rumors swirled about who orchestrated the tip. Some blamed Rashida Frost, seeking to leverage her own scandal into influence. Others whispered a network executive aimed to salvage ratings. The speculation ignited fresh social media storms. Was this another manipulative chapter in reality TV's unfolding script? Or a sincere olive branch to a fractured family? Meanwhile, fans turned to crowdfunding to support the party's legal fees. Campaigns sprouted overnight, with donors pledging thousands under banners of the justice for Jasmine and the faith in Kirk. Community groups formed, offering free legal clinics, financial planning seminars, and grief counseling for families caught in the spotlight. The saga transcended television. It became a public phenomenon about relationships tested by fame, money, and power. Amid this frenzy, a coalition of former reality stars launched an initiative called Real Care, advocating mental health, resources, conflict mediation, and ethical guidelines for unscripted shows. They spotlighted Kirk and Jasmine's plight as a cautionary tale, urging networks to prioritize cast welfare over sensational storylines. Their manifesto, signed by dozens of familiar faces, trended for days under Namdir Real Care, testament that real-life consequences demanded real-life solutions. As the sun set on this chapter, Kirk and Jasmine reunited for a surprise joint statement on the courthouse steps. Cameras rolled as they addressed the public. Kirk spoke first, voice firm. "We may not have found final legal answers, but we found each other in this process." Jasmine nodded, tears glinting. "Our family and our truth are worth more than any verdict. We choose healing over headlines." Their embrace was a moment of raw authenticity, an unscripted reunion forged in conflict. The network seized on the moment, fast-tracking a special titled Unfiltered Kirk and Jasmine's Next Chapter. It promised behind-the-scenes footage of their reconciliation, mediation highlights, and a look at the community programs born of their experience. Sponsors lined up again, pledging funds for addiction awareness and family counseling initiatives. What once threatened to derail their careers now offered a chance to redefine their public narrative. In the days that followed, Kirk and Jasmine launched a joint foundation, channeling resources into legal aid for families entangled in reality, TV disputes, and mental health support for cast members. Their first gala drew tears and applause, watched by fans who once jeered them from the sidelines. Critics remained skeptical, but many praised the couple for transforming a bitter feud into coordinated action for others. And while cameras will roll on new seasons and fresh feuds, the legacy of this courtroom showdown will endure. It proved that Love and Hip Hop's latest drama was more than a storyline. It was a mirror reflecting the complexities of marriage, money, and media. Through mistrials, leaked tips, and alliance shifts, one truth shone clear. Real lives cannot be edited or deleted, and the power of reconciliation can rise even from the fiercest battles. The show goes on, but the rules have changed. Reality. Stars now face audiences armed with awareness, expectations of empathy, and a demand for accountability. Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington's saga reminded everyone that beyond the script lies the fragile human heart, and that sometimes the greatest drama of all is the path back to each other. You've witnessed the sparks fly in Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington's most explosive court showdown yet. Hidden accounts exposed, surprise witnesses revealing secrets, and a mistrial that left everyone wondering what comes next. Now it's time for you to weigh in. Do you believe their joint statement of reconciliation was genuine, or just another reality TV gambit to salvage their image? Will their proposed settlement and foundation drive real change, or is this simply drama dressed up as redemption? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Are you shuzzed Team Kirk and Jasmine for choosing healing, or do you think the mistrial was a missed opportunity for truth? Share your take on whether networks should require mediation clauses and mental health resources for reality cast, and tell us how you'd rewrite this story if you were in their shoes. Your voice matters. By commenting, you help shape how these stories unfold both on and off screen. If you've been riveted by every twist and turn, hit the like button to show your support for transparency behind the scenes. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss our deep dives into reality television's most shocking moments. Share this video with friends who can't get enough of unscripted drama and be part of the conversation that goes beyond sensational headlines. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Because in the world of love and hip-hop, the real story is never truly over.